the iodyne Pro Mini SSD Smart Drive. The smartest drive I've ever seen is finally in the market. Digital label, Passkey unlock, and also Find My, and lots of other features.
You're watching CineD, supported by B&H and CVP.
Welcome from NAB 2026. I'm here at the iodyne booth with Mike. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us. We're back in the kitchen, in your workflow kitchen.
That's right.
So that's where you show workflows. In.
Yeah, what have you made me today?
I thought you were the cook here.
Yeah.
I guess, right? So
We're cooking up our usual storage products for folks, including the Pro Mini, which is now on sale. We're really excited to announce to our customers. So we've been given demos so far here at NAB, and we're really excited to finally get this product out to customers who've been waiting for it, are really excited about the new features we're offering. And so we've had people buy, looking at it, playing with it, getting to see all the new features.
yeah, you have been teasing this last year. We got very excited about it because it is really, I mean, I think a lot of innovation in a space where we usually don't see so much innovation in terms of storage, I think.
That's right.
So, I mean, we love the Pro Data. We have one that we use all the time.
Yep.
But of course, size is an issue sometimes.
Yes.
And that's where the Mini comes in. But just run us through the features of this.
Well, first of all, let's start with the first thing you said, which is that all these drives that we've been dealing with for years in the portable drive space are exactly the same. They're literally exactly the same. Anyone who owns a portable drive knows it's a metal shell. They come in different colors, but if you open it up and you look inside, as you do and customers do, the same thing is in every single one of them, which is it's an M.2 consumer SSD. It's that little gum stick sized SSD form factor we're all familiar with. So they're really all the same. There hasn't been any innovation in this space for a while. So when we looked at the idea of doing a portable drive at Iodine, the very first question we asked ourselves is there something we can do here that's not just different, but different for a reason to solve an actual customer problem? And so we went over multiple years and really focused in on how our customers were using portable storage drives, and we looked at the pain points. And every single feature that's unique in Pro Mini is motivated by a specific discussion with a customer. So just to highlight a few of those examples, right? We noticed everybody's drives are covered with pieces of masking tape. They've got, what is this drive? So let's start with that. What is this? What's on it? And by the way, is the thing that's written on the masking tape even correct anymore? I probably have to
Tell me about it. I think I have a drive here which says IBC 23 and it's NAB 26 stuff.
Exactly. So that's why we invented what you see right here is what we call the digital label. So the digital label is an e-paper display that mixes personal information from you, like your company logo, the cool CineD logo, right? What maybe camera A or what episode of what show we're on, with dynamic information like the capacity of the drive, how much space is used, and other kinds of information like that. And in fact, one of the most important things with portable drives is to be sure that before you unplug it, everything's synced. If you look on here, we got a check mark. That check mark appears animated. It checks off when you correctly eject it and everything is synced, and you know that your footage
That's good.
has been stored. So that tells you if this is on the shelf right now, I know that this is safely stored. So we're mixing dynamic information with all the personal information, and you can customize this from our Mac OS app or Windows app to put your logo in there and do like that.
And the QR code, when I scan that, I see what's on it.
That's right. QR code, you can create your own. So in our utility, you can put your own URL. You can do that. You can also link it to our new fleet management cloud service. So it could be your QR code or our URL. We also have a lost mode. If you lose the device, you can have a custom screen for that. So there's a lot of customization capability built into this digital label. Really unique feature. We think customers are going to absolutely love this. Now, the other thing we wanted to do was to really address security of portable drives. And when we think about security of portable drives, there's really two parts to that. One is, of course, we want it to be encrypted, right? A lot of encrypted drives today, first of all, they're either not encrypted at all, or back to masking tape, the password's usually written on the masking tape, right? We've all seen that one perhaps.
I won't tell you where the password for our Pro Data is stored.
Right.
It's definitely not on the Pro Data. It is.
Exactly. So we don't want to have that for Pro Drive. So what we did was, in this product, for the first time, we've invented a device side implementation of a new technology called Passkeys. So you're probably familiar with Passkeys from websites, right, that are adopting them. And this is the idea that you have a public key and a private key. The private key is in your phone or computer. It's exchanged with the device or website to unlock it. And Pro Mini has inside of it a secure enclave for your encryption keys and the ability to exchange a passkey with your phone or computer. We have a new iOS app linked to fleet management. You can have multiple users who have passkeys for the drive, and they unlock it by holding their phone on top of the digital label, and our app will transmit the passkey secure dialog and unlock the drive in a few seconds through that NFC thing. So it's a tap to unlock experience, which is really amazing. And that gives people not only the ability to easily unlock, but also multiple users can unlock drives, which is really important in team environments, right? Maybe everyone at CineD who's working on an episode, or imagine being on a movie set, there may be dozens of DITs or people collaborating.
Also deal with a lot of information that's, like under embargo. So that's one of the things.
But you don't need to remember passwords. You don't need to write passwords on masking tape anymore. So we've got amazing encryption. Encryption's line speed, it's always on. Now we've linked it to easy to use security that can work for large teams or individuals as well. So that's a really important feature. Now the other thing about security that's important is when we have portable devices that are phone sized is what if we just lose our device, right? What if we lose it? So we of course want it to be encrypted so that we know no one can get our information, but we also want to get it back, or maybe you just misplaced it. And we've talked to many customers, even the show here the past couple of days, who just, oh my God, the only copy of that, somebody put it down, we don't know where it is. So we've actually built in Find My as well into Pro Mini. So underneath our digital label is also Bluetooth low energy antenna, and our Find My capability is linked to both Apple and Google's Find My network. So you actually use the native app on those platforms. It's like having an AirTag built into the drive. So we actually built that in. You can even ring the drive. There's a sound emitter. You can play a ringing noise inside of it. There's a blinking light. And of course, you can use the native Find My app on your iPhone or Android device to see where your drive is. So that's great if it's lost or stolen. It's also great, imagine you're working with someone and you're just shipping the footage as a shuttle in Pro Mini. So you want to know, did it get there? When is it going to be there? Maybe it's with UPS or FedEx or somebody, right? So we want to make sure that people know where the drives are or can get them back, right? So that you can reuse the drive for your next production and not waste it. So those are some great features that are built right into the product, in addition to core iodyne features like RAID-6 and encryption, of course, sustained speeds. And then we've got an amazing industrial design. So beautiful aluminum enclosure, Gorilla Glass 2 protecting the digital label. We've got universal USB and Thunderbolt connectivity, so you can plug it into any USB port and it will figure out, is this USB 2, USB 3, USB 4, or Thunderbolt? It will automatically do the right protocol, so you can use it in highest performance with Thunderbolt, or if you just need access to the data, maybe you only have a computer that supports a USB 2 or 3 port. You can still access your data.
I didn't know that's possible because usually it's either one or the other, right?
That's right. Most of the drives on the market today that we're familiar with, and that's one of the things, I'm glad you brought that up, because if you think about drives today, there's a lot of weird niche categories, right? There's the secure drives are like really slow and hard to use. Yeah. The USB drives are really portable, but they're not fast. The fast drives only support Thunderbolt, but they don't support USB. Yeah. So you kind of have to make these weird choices. The reality is, with Pro Mini, you don't have to make those choices anymore.
And it's this weird thing with the USB connector, like you have the same USB-C connector, but you never know what kind of cable it is.
I mean, there are books about, just explaining to the broader consumer audience, hey, it's a USB-C connector, but here's these 10,000 different protocols it can support. Which one does your thing do? So with Pro Mini, we've tried to, and we heard that from customers, right? So with Pro Mini, we built in a special chipset and protocol converter that allows us to detect when you plug it in, what is on the other end that it's talking to. And in fact, on the digital label that I mentioned earlier, we'll even tell you what speed you're connecting.
Oh.
So you'll see an icon pop up that will say 40 gigabit or 20 gigabit or 10 gigabit or even 5 gigabit.
So that could also tell you if you have a crappy cable, because that's one of the things, right?
Exactly. If you have a 40 gigabit port on your computer and you've chosen the wrong cable, your Mini is going to tell you this is only running in 10 gigabit. And that's right on the digital label.
I only recently learned that there are USB-C cables with USB 2 speeds, like really, actually a lot of them. So, like all the cheap ones that come as charging cables.
Absolutely. So I need to show you a picture. Maybe we can get this on your website, but we have a rack of cables back at it because we test these. We have like 100 cables we test these with. And I can't tell you how common it is. We have found in the industry cables that are advertised as one thing or one speed, but in fact, when you plug them in, are not. So we just tried to do the best we can, but also we're empowering customers with information, right? Ultimately you want to know, and it's amazing that most things don't tell you. You don't know.
Yeah.
If I plug the cable in, is my performance slow because it's the computer, the drive, the cable? I don't know. Well, now we're giving you information to help you figure that out, so you can get the performance you need in your workflow. And of course, I should mention we have great cables at Iodine.
I know one. The purple ones. I did a review.
Yeah. So anyway.
Well, I reviewed cables. I mean, like I thought it's boring, but it's not, because exactly in that review I found the differences between those are enormous, actually.
It's a really important issue, and so we've of course bundled a 0.3 meter nice purple cable with ours.
Yeah.
And the other great thing is you can pair our device with the cable of your choice for the workload. So another weird choice customers have had to make in portable drives, you'll see with other portable drives your customers are familiar with, is those cables that are glued into the drive, right? Okay, well, it's nice that I get a cable with it, but the problem is, what if that's not the right length for my workflow? What if I'm trying to build a DIT cart and I need a 2-meter cable or 1-meter cable? So this drive not only adapts to different protocols, but adapts to different cable lengths as well, and that's really important for being the most flexible it can be in your workflow, for your setup, etc. So we're really excited about that.
No, I mean, it's amazing for me that you're really pushing the industry forward with this. Honestly, because I think it's been such a boring area for a very long time. And like you said, I mean, there's a million different things in the market that are all the same, kind of.
That's right.
And I feel like even the speed hasn't gotten better in the last couple of years.
Well, and also speed is really challenging, and that's one more piece of magic. And actually, I'll show you this right now, is sustained speed, right? So one of the things that we've focused on with Iodine and we've shared with you before is this idea of how important it is in our customers in these video, media entertainment workflows, and other workflows in other industries as well, is about sustained speed, right? So not about 20-second benchmarks, but about sustained speed. One of the biggest challenges in portable devices for sustaining speed is thermal management, right? If we want more sustained speed, performance has a relationship to power, because we're powering solid state NAND chips to deliver our storage performance. As we apply power, we're going to need cooling, and so we've actually built into ProMini for the first time ever in a portable storage device solid state cooling. So inside of ProMini is a very unique technology made by a great partner of ours. It's a technology called AirJet. AirJet is a solid state cooling chip that actually moves air inside of millimeters thin chips, not a fan, but something that can cool, and it's also completely
Small outlets here on the side.
That's right. And so there are actually 2 AirJet chips inside of ProMini, constantly helping to manage the throughput performance, and that's the key technology that actually allowed us to not only improve sustained performance, but also open the door to adding all these other things that we wanted, like line speed encryption, and we talked about digital label and NFC keys and all these things we want to do. We needed to have different technology in the device to cool it, to open up the envelope of what was possible. And AirJet was the key technology to letting us do that. So we're really excited. No one's ever done that in a portable drive before, or anything phone size before. And we're really excited to bring that innovation to the industry as well.
So you mentioned RAID-6. How is it possible to put RAID-6 technology into something that small?
Great question. Right. So first of all, let's just remind our audience what RAID is all about, right? So the idea of RAID is we want to have multiple copies of the data, right? And that way, if something fails normally, if we had a drive array with multiple drives, right? And it would be very efficient if we just start storing literally 2 copies, 3 copies, 4 copies, very efficient. So what's great about RAID is, instead of storing just multiple copies of the data, we store multiple pieces of data, and then we XOR them all together, or getting fancier for RAID-6, we use Galois field math. We do Galois multiply. We end up with a special other thing called the parity, and using the parity, we can recover missing pieces of data. So RAID came to us from actually the disk drive industry and was then applied to SSDs. So if we have multiple SSDs, like in our ProData product, if an SSD were to fail or reach the end of its life, we can remove that SSD and use our RAID algorithm to resilver or recover the missing data. Okay, so we normally think of RAID as being multiple drives. Okay, now inside of this portable device, our ProMini, our storage is not different drives. We have one drive, but the data is distributed over multiple NAND chips. Okay, and of course, when we look at those chips on the circuit board, and this is what's really interesting, is if we were to look at the circuit board, we would see multiple chips. We think of those little BGA packages that are soldered on there. Well, amazingly, inside of those packages, there's actually multiple NAND chips vertically stacked on top of each other. Okay, those are the actual NAND chips. So what we think of as a chip on the circuit board is really the package. Inside the package are many other chips. Inside of this drive, we have up to 64 individual NAND chips.
64 in one.
64 individual NAND chips are actually inside of this, all packaged together. So what we're doing with RAID-6 and Pro Mini is we're actually using our RAID-6 technology from ProData, but we're doing it across those NAND chips inside of a portable device. So we've got amazing recoverability in terms of individual chip failures. And of course, at NAND level, things are not really failing at the chip level, but things are wearing out at the level of individual NAND pages or erase blocks, as they're called in the NAND. So what we're doing is we're distributing the data across these 64 chips in parallel. We're adding parity information, RAID-6, so double parity, and then we're automatically using that to recover from NAND wear out, NAND failures as we go. So we've got a great, almost enterprise grade level of resiliency inside the drive itself, right? And then of course we can replicate to other drives like ProData's or use our offload tools, right? That we're all familiar with to create additional physical redundancy. So it's really important to have that mixture of strategies to protect your data, right? You got to have a backup strategy, you got to have replication, like maybe you go out on a shoot and you have ProData as kind of the mothership, but then you want to bring a Pro Mini with you, right? Come back to the hotel room, offload to a ProData so you have a master copy, and then get it off to the cloud or wherever you're doing post-production.
So are you guys the first ones to do something like this in a drive that small?
I think we are the first folks to do that level of enterprise RAID-6 in a portable bus-powered drive like this in this space, absolutely. And I think it's a really important development because, again, I mean, these are critical assets. People are putting so much work into creating content, and it's really important. So we want to protect it with encryption, but we also want to protect it from a reliability standpoint, right? And then we want to make it easy for you to move it to the next stage of your workflow. And we think Pro Mini is great at that.
Let's take a step back. Before we talk about pricing availability, I just want to ask you a couple of questions about the state of the storage industry. I think everybody behind the camera and everybody in our audience has noticed that storage prices have skyrocketed thanks to AI.
Thank you, AI.
Thank you, AI. So there's, this bubble is expanding, and it will either pop or deflate to a degree, in my opinion.
Yes.
But, what's your position that as a manufacturer of storage devices, I mean, you must be very well connected to the industry and actually sourcing those.
Absolutely.
Do you think, well, first of all, how did we get here? Do you think it's going to continue like that for a while? Do you see like a light at the end of the tunnel already, or is it too early to say?
Well, it's a great question. Let me break it into a few pieces, I think, to give the answer. So the first one is to understand is, where is this coming from? Why is it happening? Okay, and the simplest way to explain it is, if we want to build a memory chip fab, whether it's DRAM memory or NAND memory, we're talking about tens of billions of dollars and many years to build those fabs, okay? So we only have so much fab capacity in our industry at a given point in time, okay? Now, out of our fab comes wafers, right, that we're going to use to make chips, DRAM chips, NAND chips, and so forth. So we only have so much wafer capacity. If you and I are running a fab in our spare time, we only have so much wafer capacity. And our goal, at the end of the day, is to make the most money we can from the wafers we can produce, okay? So when AI data center demand skyrocketed as this new wave of data center development is starting, what that means is there's an unprecedented additional amount of demand, but we don't have more supply. And if we are running a fab, there's now an opportunity for us to shift a significant percentage of our wafer volume over to essentially what's a higher margin, better paying place to put those wafers, which is inside of high-end GPUs and other parts of that data center. So that's where it's coming from. So if we look at the problem from that context, we can understand why it's happening. And we can also understand, to answer the second part of your question, is this is not going away. I don't think that we can't predict exactly how the AI data center build out will go because, of course, no one knows exactly the answer to that. But it's very clear this is a transformational force. This transformation is going to take multiple years, and I would not expect that to go away. Of course, the demand and supply will shift over time, and if we knew the answers to that, you and I could make a lot of money. But this is not a phenomenon that's going away in a week or a month where all of a sudden prices are going to go back, because that phenomenon is happening. Okay, so now what do we do about it here in the storage space and building our products? The first thing is critically important to have long-term supply chain relationships. So we have more than 25 years of relationships with chip vendors that we leverage at Iodine. It is very hard right now to be a new customer. You have to have those strong relationships. And of course, we're always looking to qualify additional suppliers where we can to diversify supply so that we can offer the best prices to our customers. I think what's most important in looking at it contextually for our products is our products are really distinguished by these advanced features that we've already talked about, okay? So all those other drives that are just commodity M.2s, if you look at those, all those prices have gone up, just as all prices have gone up. The difference is they're not offering anything new for those price increases. It's still the same old drive, doing the same thing it was last year, it just costs a lot more. We're actually offering a lot more with the technology we're building in Smart Drive, whether it's digital labels, encryption, Find My tracking, fleet management, RAID-6 technology, all these things that we're doing, we're offering more value for that money because you're actually getting more in terms of what the device can do for you, even though we're subject to the same kind of price increases for chips that everyone in the industry is. So that's our positioning, and we're going to fight every day to get the best prices we can for our customers.
So let's go back to the Mini, the Pro
Yep.
Mini. So tell me about different capacities you offer,
Yes,
availability, and also pricing.
Okay, so pricing today, availability. So availability, we just started shipping the Mini. We got a worldwide partner network. You can pre-order or order at iodyne.com, and then we'll immediately connect your order with one of our suppliers, or partners, excuse me, who's receiving units, and they'll get you units. We have quite a long list of pre-orders to get through. We had a lot of people who are excited about the product. So we're getting through all those pre-orders. My advice to anyone who's interested is get your order or pre-order in now. And as we're going through in priority order all of our pre-orders, but our worldwide partner network is receiving devices as we speak right now, and we're really excited to roll those out to customers. We have 2 capacities of Pro Mini available today, and I think we'll have more in the future, but the launch capacities are 4 terabyte and 8 terabyte. It's exactly the same form factor, so it looks the same, everything behaves the same, just a difference of capacity. We're selling those for $14.95 for the 4 terabyte, $21.95 for the 8 terabyte, available through our partners, and we're going to do everything we can to offer the best prices we can, subject to the worldwide chip constraints that we talked about earlier. But those are the prices that we pre-announced. We're sticking to those prices for all the orders that we're in, and we think that's a great price and great value for what the features are that are offered in this device, which have never been done before in this form factor.
Well, absolutely. I mean, also if you look at the standard price for a, like off-the-shelf 4 terabyte, I mean, of course, it costs less, but it does a lot less.
Yeah.
But that drive costs a lot more than it used to like a year ago. So it's like,
it doesn't do anything different. It doesn't do anything different. And the other thing I really want to, and I think we can drop a little hint to you and your audience as well is
inside info, guys. Listen up.
here. So listen to this.
The end of a long video.
Something to think about at the end of a long video is think about other drives. It's just a drive. Okay. This product, and the reason we call it a smart drive, is it's a lot more like a smartphone. It has a system on a chip inside of it running our software, okay? So like your smartphone, we like our phones, we get new phones in the future, but the other fun thing that gets to happen with our smartphone is it gets better through time through software because we can add features to it, we can add apps to it. Yeah. Same thing with Pro Mini, right? So this device today is not done yet. In fact, we've got more magic tricks in our sleeve, and they're gonna come to our customers for free through software updates, just like we added features to ProData over the time. So that's one of the advantages of having a different architecture of a drive is it's got our software inside of it running on a system on a chip. We can actually make it better. And our customers, in fact, here at NAB, have been peppering us with more ideas. Many of those ideas will find their way to future software updates of the minis that people buy now and make it even better in the future. And I can't wait to unleash those ideas on customers later.
Well, I think it's also like if people are honest, or at least me, like you get lazy with drives sometimes, meaning I have so many SSDs lying around, some of which have data on it from years ago. Right?
Yep.
And that is because price was relatively low at some point. So the only the few drives that I keep like deleting and using is the fastest ones I have,
Yep,
right?
Absolutely.
So, and obviously if you're one of those, that's going to be the one that you use every day.
Yep.
Because it has all those features, because it's made for production, you can find it has all the security, it has a RAID-6 protection. So all those things that make it a no-brainer to kind of use that every day. So I think, like if you think even as an independent creator, you think about the investment, it's like, like even if it's 3 times as much as another one, it has so many more features that it makes total sense.
Right, and I think that's one of the things that I think is really exciting is because there's different features here. Is there's a lot of different ways to use this product. If you might be a solo creator, right, and you're going to get the advantage. I mean, for example, you can even record to this from a camera that's got USB-C output. That means I don't need cartridges. I can actually record. I don't need card readers.
Yeah.
So you're saving some money, right? You might have a workflow where you don't need to buy cartridges and a card reader anymore.
Yeah.
That's going to help you against the price of purchasing a drive. Then take it all the way up to if you're a major movie studio that we're meeting with here at NAB, where they're saying, okay, I need a fleet of 20, 30, 40, 50 drives to do a production. Now I need passkeys and more advanced features across or I want to track them or whatever. So there's a lot of different ways to take advantage of these features. And I think one of the great things we've done with our focus on ease of use at Iodyne is we've got features that are really powerful. They're going to help individual creators. They're going to help sports teams. They're going to help major motion picture studios, and then other industries as well. We've got people using our products today all over the place in aerospace, defense, corporate, Fortune 500. There's something for everyone here, and we're really excited about it.
I think if we were very honest, I think it's weird that an average hard drive or SSD doesn't actually have password protection. Because every one of our smart devices, you have to use Face ID or Touch ID or whatever, or a passcode. It's normal. You want to protect your personal data. And what is more personal than images or video files?
Exactly.
So it's kind of like a no-brainer. And if you can unlock it with your phone and you don't need to remember passcodes, passwords and so on, it makes total sense.
Your data, and this is an important, something that's everyone will resonate with everyone, but it's important to verbalize. Your data is your most important thing. If you took my computer today or my phone and you just threw it in the ocean, I'm fine. If you took all my data, all my family photos, my tax returns, that production that we just worked on, that great video that you guys are producing for your website, or something where we had actors and directors and those people, that's incredibly valuable. That's hundreds of people's time or a unique moment that you capture, but your data is your most important thing. So we want
Has had a hard drive fail before.
Exactly.
It knows how that feels.
Yeah, that's not a good feeling. So your data is your most important thing. We want to keep it safe. We want to keep it secure. We want to know where it is, and we want to make it easy for you to access it safely, and that's what we do at Iodyne.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you.
That was really interesting, and I look forward to checking this one out once it's out for review. And thanks everybody for watching. Stay tuned to CineD for a lot more from NAB 2026, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.